and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And well, we're back to doing the old Skype podcast again. I think it's going to be all fine and dandy.
Yeah, we got a couple fail-safes in case Skype decides to fail on us. But
well, it's just nice that it's so nice to do them in person, though. You always forget like how good a podcast is in person until you're sitting down in the room. It's like it's a completely different atmosphere. You know, there's probably some podcasters out there who have never done like a podcast in person, and it's like it's the way to go. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything in person's mostly better. You know, playing video games with your buddies in person, it's great. You know, you're doing a podcast or making a movie or something like that, it's great. You know, there's something to be said about having that thing. It's like it's nice to have the internet. Don't get me wrong. It's cool to be able to talk to people around the world, but there is something to be said there. Which for next time you come by, I pulled out some more VHSs for us to do.
Speaking of how good everything is doing in person, you totally blanked out on my side for a minute.
Okay.
And I just landed on, we got some VHSs for next time we come by. Like, okay.
Yeah. I whipped out some VHSs for us to do podcast commentaries because I just went upstairs. I was like, you know what? I gotta go flip through my VHS. I know there's some good stuff there. And I pulled out like a stack of like 6. So we have choices.
Well, I was going to say, I was listening to the Rockadoodle one, and not to suck our own dicks too hard here, but that was a really fun episode. I mean, I don't really care that much for the movie, but just talking about that episode, and we were both, I thought you had some fantastic jokes on that episode, and we were just riffing. And now, so it's like coming off all that high energy, and the Sonic episode before that was funny too, but the Rockadoodle one was just like, oh, that was so much fun, dude. Yeah, I can't wait to do this. Do like another like funny commentary when I come back, and then like first episode after Rockadoodle, just like nothing but fucking tragedy in the world right now.
Yeah, we do have that. I mean, that Rockadoodle one, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I really do think that was one of our best episodes we did. I mean, I know most people can't use the words Rockadoodle and best episode they've ever done in the same sentence, but I'm glad to say we can. But yeah, it does kind of suck. You just have, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like one of those ones. Like I just saw that like little slit in. It was like Tom Petty passed away, and you're like, oh.
I actually to add to that, I heard that he didn't. Maybe there's been an update, but I saw that he's on life support.
Oh, really? So they might be able to resurrect him like Dracula or something?
Yeah, they might be able to get. Yeah, they might be able to bring him back with the Dragon Balls.
Or maybe they'll like freeze him like with Walt Disney, and it's like in 30 years, Tom Petty will have his return.
Yeah.
I hope that's what it is, or we get like robotic Tom Petty. I mean, Blade Runner's coming out very soon. I mean, like. Why not? Why not bring Tom Petty back somehow, some way? If we have the technology, we should put it to proper use by resurrecting Tom Petty.
Yeah. He's like one of the top 5. I mean, I think we got to go like, Tom Petty, Bruce Lee.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of those guys, I mean, I don't know how we're going to resurrect them by now, but see, Tom Petty's at that state that we could, like, freeze it.
Oh, you're thinking realistic. Okay,
I'm thinking realistically here. I mean,
you're thinking fresh.
It would be nice just to be able to go to the grave and just go, rise from your grave, and then have Bruce Lee come out like, ah!
Martin Luther King, get up here. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about more realistic science here.
Bruce Lee, Tom Petty, Martin Luther King.
And they're all going to star in their own movie together. Why did you resurrect me? Well, we wanted to have a triple threat, you know, with you guys all in it. Like, you'd be perfect together. It'd be like, you know how they're saying they're going to make triplets? It would be like that, but, you know, they haven't got around to doing it yet, so here, you guys take over instead.
Well, it's kind of like, I guess you got, well, actually, I guess it is kind of a Trinity thing right there, because I'd like to believe they all stand for the same thing. Martin Luther King, you know, he's the idea man. He's the philosopher. He gets it all going. Tom Petty, he's the inspirer. He inspires people with his music. And Bruce Lee, to get out of line, will sock him in the fucking face.
Dude, I just picture this like it happens like a couple hundred years in the future. So they're like all flying in a spaceship together, like as a team, and they have to go across like the galaxy, fucking saving the day together. Like, how fucking awesome would that be?
It's a pretty badass team up right there.
I think so. I don't know. See, I guess that's the thing. You can take tragedy and you can hopefully look at it the bright way and go, you know what? Maybe it can be.
Sounds like a good sci-fi show.
Maybe in the future it can all be better. That's all I have to say. But it is kind of a bummer because that was another one. It was almost like a Chris Cornell one. It was just like all of a sudden out of fucking left field. You're like, what? Tom Petty just up and gone? You're there like he's 66 and one. The first thing I'm like, he's only 66. I thought he would be a little bit older than that, but I guess it makes sense, you know. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. You just think of it being that way. But yeah, that was just one of those ones. Like, you didn't expect Tom Petty just to kind of like just go all of a sudden. I mean, like, once again, you're a rock star. I mean, I
he's
guess
on life support, so
you're
he's not
literally on a
totally,
fragile like thing, but
he's on life support, so he's not totally gone yet. At least thing I saw. Maybe that's changed, but you know. That being said, it was one of those things that was shocking. Aside from that and the whole Vegas thing, it was just this big combination of like, oh Jesus Christ, just more of this fucking shit
just happening, and yeah, it's just one of those ones like, oh, it always comes like in waves, I guess, big waves of death, and I mean. The only thing about that Vegas one, it kind of this is it's going to happen now. It's going to be just like whenever those kind of disasters happen, they're like, you know what, fuck outdoor concerts, just we're never going to do them again. I don't think they're like never going to do them again, but they're going to have some kind of outcry. And those are those kind of things where it's like that's a one-off incident. Like you can't really, base this like it's going to happen like every fucking time it happens. I mean, that's the kind of stuff until we get to the future, till it's like Minority Report. There's no way we can fucking like fix those ones.
Just clarifying, this was posted 2 hours ago. This is just going one topic back. LAPD clarifies it cannot confirm Tom Petty's death. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. Because Microsoft's all like, he's fucking dead. That's it. Just call it good, And
some well, I think they also knew that'd probably sell. Like, oh, he's not doing so good. Oh, dead. All right, good. That's gonna sell. It's gonna sell. All right, put that out there. Yeah, but no, regarding the whole Vegas thing, though, like you said, it's kind of like you can't stop all that shit. But at the same time, it's one of those things like people keep saying, no, it's not guns, it's everything else. Like, oh, well, this asshole got 58 down. So, you might want to clarify that, look into it, make it harder for some piece of shit like this to get a gun in the first place. And I'm not going to say his name.
Yeah, well, the sad part is these kind of guys, like, this always sounds like the conservative answer, but it does feel like that guy would get the gun no matter what. If he couldn't fucking buy the gun, these always sound like the kind of people that would make the gun. I feel like the people that live in this kind of world where it's like, I gotta fucking kill, like, like they're not gonna stop just because they can't go to the store and buy a gun. It's sadly enough, it's like I feel like that's not gonna stop too much.
It's not going to stop it forever, but I still think it could put at least a speed bump or make it harder to get this kind of shit. I don't know how he got it. I'm just kind of going strictly off just quick little things articles I glanced at and reviewing what I've heard on like different news sources on YouTube and this and that, and it's what's so fucked up about this is you get assholes that like they thrive on it. They thrive on this shit. Like, so many fake news sources popped up being like, it's the alt-right, it's Antifa, it's ISIS. ISIS being, they're literally like the trolls of terrorists. Like, because whenever anything happens, they take credit for it just to throw people off. And then to find out, they're like, oh no, it was just totally unrelated somehow.
Yeah, it's weird how it is. It's like everybody wants to place blame on something, and just I don't know. Like sometimes people don't realize that like one-off incidents like those, it's like that's just a certain person that you'll never be able to know like what they're thinking, and they're just gonna act accordingly to how their brain processes. And it's like they always want to find a way to stop this, but it's kind of like one of those ones like we're not there yet where you can stop these kind of things.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to believe it is. I mean, I think that sounds nice on paper. But it's just one of those ones, unless you're going to mind read everybody, you're not going to be able to get this. And then if you're mind reading everybody, then that gets into the freedom thing. You know what I mean? So it's that toss-up. It's like, do you want the big brother? Or, I mean, things like this are just going to happen. I mean, I hate to say it, but...
They're not always going to... The thing is, I think that it's like, these are going to... It just seems like... It went from being one of those things where it's like, okay, this happens once every, year or every 2 years or so. Because remember a thing like, say something like Columbine. That was a big fucking deal. And that shocked, like, the country for, like, a number of years. Now it seems like every other month we have something just as bad. So it's just, I'm not trying to bring it down or nothing. But it seems like what we had before this. I mean, this wasn't as gun-related, but we had Charlottesville literally, like, a month before this asshole. It's probably something else that slipped my mind because this shit keeps on popping up.
Well, you could probably put the blame on that there's just more people in the world nowadays. I feel that just that just increases the chance of it happening. I think, you go back like 30 years, there's already like a billion less people. So the chances
you think we're lemmings? We're just trying to off ourselves? Even though I know lemmings really don't jump off the cliff.
They don't do that because they're like, fuck life.
Walt Disney pushed them off the cliff. No lie. Walt Disney was pushing off, not personally.
life does suck. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you're not going to be a cartoon mouse, are you? Well, I guess you're right. I won't be a cartoon mouse. Yeah, shit's just not good for you. You know what? I think it'd be better if you just take the high road out. You know what I mean? Literally, the high road. Walk up that high road, walk the fuck off. Well, if you think that's the right idea, Walt knows best. Walt does know best.
I just like to imagine he's just leaning over this little lemming, just kind of like eating a nut. Just looks all depressed. Oh, okay, if you say so.
Well, you know,
take my whole family with me.
Take the whole family with us. You know, Uncle Walt says we gotta take the high pass off. I guess it's about that time.
Now, that was like a Walt Disney like nature documentary from like the 40s or 50s, and they're just like they would literally stage animals to fucking die. It's like, we need something juicy, we need something awesome. You know what'd be funny? These animals running off a fucking cliff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously that like goes into people's like minds of like, oh, that must just be what they do. You know, they get to the point where their job isn't working out for them anymore, and they just say, fuck it, let's all get in line and protest this shit by killing ourselves.
So, but take it back to that. Yeah, maybe we're just, to some extent, maybe just there's some weird little. Don't take this statement too seriously. Maybe we all have this weird little thing like, oh, gonna end. I guess I'm just gonna try to fucking off myself and try. I don't know. A lot of it, I just feel like a lot of this shit's narcissism. I feel like a lot of these people just they want to be recognized or remembered for something, so they do some shit like this.
Or yeah, I just feel it's that like it's pretty much like the line from Star Fox where it's like, if I go down, I'm taking you with me. I think that's what those people feel like. They're like, I'm going to go fucking kill myself, but I'm going to go kill myself with everybody else. You know what I mean? It's that... Well, because, you know, this is the worst part about it. Like, okay, you hate to say this, but you know that, like, the fucking, like, energy rush that you would fucking get from just, like, blasting the living daylights out of a place. And if anybody goes like, oh, I would not feel that way, I'm like, no. You hate to say it, but literally, go play a video game and just kind of just, like, go aimlessly shooting things. There's something fun about it. Like, it's not something you should do, but there is something, like why you would get a fucking, you know, rise out of it. And the thing is, you can only do it once. You know what I mean? And this guy's old and crusty, so, you know, you can't trust what he's been doing all his life. And then, yeah. So, I mean, like, you could see where it comes from. That's the thing about it. Like, I can get it. Like, I understand, like, where somebody would do it. It's just, you don't have the thing to choose between what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, looking at this guy, I mean, this, once again, this news is all pretty fresh to us. I've just looked at some of the stuff I've seen on the news and whatever. And who knows, maybe some of that stuff will be debunked in a day or two. But apparently this dude had major debts, and he was just like, he would visit Vegas frequently. So I'm not even sure if this is a political thing. This might just be some fucking asshole who just like, you know what, I'm going to get a gun and I'm just going to be remembered for something, and just trying to, you know.
No, I think that's exactly what it is. I don't think it has any, like, there's not like any exterior motives other than just one man's rampage, and that's about it.
Some people were trying to make it out to be that they thought it was some left-leaning guy trying to get back at some right-leaning people for Charlottesville because it was a country concert. So
no, I think that's literally just like putting your pieces together by basing off like what the story is in the beginning. But yeah, no reason to go into too much of that. I feel, you know, there's too much sad stuff in the world. I think we need to just focus on what's good, because I don't know what else to say on things like that. You know,
I'm not really qualified. I'm just like, it's just literally one of those things. It just happens, and I need someone to talk about it. Who better than to share it with people who can't talk back unless it's the comments?
Yeah, exactly. Unless they feel like commenting back. But yeah, no reason to go too much in the news stuff and sad things. Let's turn it around. Let's go positive, because we've been blessed again with many of good movies, and if anything, we got all that kind of stuff. And I know that this sounds like a weird fucking, like, turn, because you know what movie was fucking awesome? Was a movie called Killing Gunther. I know it's got the word killing in it and violence and all that stuff, but that movie was pretty fucking sick. I can't wait to be talking about this movie. I know it came out like a week and a half ago, and just how things went, it just took us a little bit longer to get to this episode, but it was one of those movies, and it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but I'll say this. I almost wish it was not advertised as a Schwarzenegger movie. But then again, I probably wouldn't have saw it if that was the case, so I guess it has to be. But if you would have watched this movie by not knowing Schwarzenegger was in it, this movie you'd be like so fucking blown away. Like, I can't wait to buy this movie and then show it to people, because really nobody knows about this movie unless you're really into Arnold. Like, it's a very hidden gem flick, and I mean, it just came out and it's a hidden gem flick.
And Arnold's not even in the movie until like the last 15 minutes of it, really.
Yeah, probably like 20 minutes. I'd probably say a little bit more than that, but yeah. And the thing is, it's like here's what the main story is for anybody who has no idea what this is. It's a mockumentary where these like group of assassins are like, okay, there's this guy out there, Gunther. You know, he's like the best of the best of the best assassins. And you know what? We're going to get this ragtag group of assassins together, and we're going to document it as we go and hunt this bastard down and fucking take him out. So they have... So the cool thing is it's kind of shot like mockumentary, but it's still shot like good enough. It's not like shaky cam or anything stupid like that. When I looked at it, it's like... when I watched the movie, I'm like, holy fuck. It's like a multimedia movie just with like a slightly big budget. And I think that's kind of cool because you look at this movie and you watch it, and if you just include a couple scenes and maybe a couple like action ones, and you know, disclude obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger being in there, you look at this movie like, dude, you could totally make this just like at home. It's such like a homemade movie, and that's almost what made me like it a lot too. And then to top off, the characters themselves are all cool. It's like it's not like you're sitting there going, God, these characters suck. When's Schwarzenegger going to appear?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was because I knew of the movie. I even saw a trailer for it a couple months back, and then when you said, "Oh, Killing Gunther," the new Arnold movie, like, oh, okay. Because originally we were going to do this with me in person while I was visiting, but then we did Rockadoodle instead. Oh, you still had to watch the movie by then too. Regarding that though, this was one of those things where for a second I was like, oh, let's see how this is, and then watching it, I was like, you nailed it on the head. This does feel like a movie we probably would have made like in high school or early college, just with some more better effects and Arnold.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what makes it kind of a cool movie. Is it's one of those like good inspirational filmmaker movies, if anything like that. And then it's like the action in it's cool. The comedy in it actually works. I think the characters are pretty neat. Just overall, it's that kind where it's like, I like it so much, and I'll say this: you almost kind of wonder, like, would the movie be like more awesome if Arnold was in it the entire way through? Yes, but I also feel just like the way the story works, that almost makes it really cool at the same time. It's like a trade-off. Like, you get that real cool like pop surprise at the end, and you have Arnold in there, and he's fucking chewing the scenery, and he's totally badass. And you really just want to see more of Gunther. Like, that's one of those movies, like, after that movie's done, I'm like, dude, I hope they make another Gunther movie and then just have Arnold in it the whole time. Because it's such a fucking badass movie. And then, like, he's so cool in it. And even though he's only in it 20 minutes, which I know that's like one of those ones you tell somebody that might almost turn somebody off from the movie. But I feel like you almost got to kind of get it across, too, just so your hopes aren't up that it's like, oh, where's Arnold at?
Well, it's also one of those things, this is, I think, one of the first times in a while I've seen Arnold being kind of like a little bit more. I mean, some of his movies are self-aware, but I mean more self-aware in the aspect of, because I know, like, Last Action Hero is a very self-aware movie, but I mean that aspect of him just being kind of like very more of like, it's kind of weird that I'm in this movie, isn't it? He's kind of acknowledging it to a certain extent. Like, there's the part where he like kills the two Russian twins. Spoilers ahead, folks. Kills the two Russian twins, and then he's like spraying. He just sprayed ew, and just like put their bodies next to each other, put their hands in each other's like drawers, and he's all like, "It's fucked up, right? I don't care."
Well, one of the best parts too is because like when this movie goes,
he's in
he's like before you get that, he's Mission Impossibling, where he's kind of got like these different masks on and everything like that, and he's hiding a certain people throughout the movie. So like you see these scenes happen, and then once you get to the end, Arnold kind of comes back and explains why these things happen. And that part's just hilarious because he's like, the main character, he's like, remember that hooker you got? It's like, it was me. And he turns and he rips off the mask, Mission Impossible style, and then Arnold's just standing in like this little like black nightie, putting those Russians into position. Like, I was fucking laughing so hard at that part. Like, that is amazing. That's like one of those moments that would probably go, like, if you had a Arnold Schwarzenegger highlight reel of best moments at movies, that one would be going up there. So fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the only part that seemed a little kind of like over the top to me, because I even kind of liked how there's like the one guy who lost an arm, and it's just like it's more of kind of like that kind of Office Space kind of like Mike Judge kind of humor, where there's like this one guy who used to be like he used to work for like, he used to be an extremist, and he's all like, yeah, I was one time hooking up the suicide bomb. I wasn't suicide bombing, someone else was, and I was hooking it up, but then the thing went off. I wasn't able to get away in time, blew off my arm. But bright side, I got this big robotic arm, and they call me, the Crusher, and he's just kind of like very bored about the whole thing, and he needs to power up his arm every 20 minutes, which I was kind of sad that was like the first of everybody in the group. I was sad he was the first to go because that dude was one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, I like the way, because he explains it. It's like, yeah, my hand, like, when the power goes off, it just kind of goes into a fist. So, of course, like, the way he gets killed is, like, Arnold puts that over his neck and then crushes his own, throat, which is like, oh, that's a cool death right there. And that's one of the few ones where it's like, okay, like, that robotic arm, that's, like, the one thing that goes, okay, there's, like, the little special effects that would have brought it out of the multimedia home movie world.
Or we could have wrapped an arm in like some aluminum wrap or some bullshit.
Well, yeah, you would have had it, but it wouldn't have looked probably like the way that robot arm looked. But yeah, just cool things like that. And it's like, yeah, then there's like the Russian twins, and then they're just kind of like almost like sort of stereotypical Russian, but they're just like these like almost like dirty, degenerate, like trailer trash Russian people that are out there as assassins. And then there's also there's the fat blonde guy with the beard, which I actually like that guy a lot too. I thought he was pretty funny.
I think that's an SNL guy. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's what he's from. And he was, plus he had the whole thing of like, yeah, because like you said, it's a mockumentary, and they'll have their interviews. Like, I used to work at a coal mining set, and one day I just had this boss I didn't like, and I was just like, oops, he was in there. I didn't know. I'm like, well, I guess I got my new job. I found out what I like to do. I like killing people.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's like I worked in the coal mine, and then after about 6 months there, they taught me how to use dynamite, and from there, that's how like all kind of leads up like how he got into the business. Just a regular job that just went one direction.
And then he even said something like, kind of like the main character, his name was Jake. I think Jake or Jack, something like that. And he says like, I think of Jake as my best friend. Would you kill him if someone paid you? Oh, fuck yeah.
He exactly says that like on there. And the cool thing too is this is one of those movies where like that main guy, he's the guy who's the main actor in the movie, is also the writer, director, producer, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of looked, it's like, this is the guy's first movie. Obviously, he's been acting since he was a child, but, it's his first movie he's making. So that's obviously probably where he's got all the connection from, is from acting. And he's in a bunch of, like, movies. It's like, I don't think he's got, like, parts that, like, oh, that's, like, one of the, like, the side characters. It's more like, I think he has a bunch of kind of, like, a little bit more minor roles. But it's still kind of cool just to be able to kind of do that and then go, like, okay, I'm going to make this movie. Going to have Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, Going to shoot it with all these friends that I know. Because I think the girlfriend character, too, she was from How I Met Your Mother.
Is that what the girlfriend was? Oh, wait. Oh, you mean the
girlfriend?
The ex-wife. Like
the
the
ex-wife,
ex-girlfriend?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because there's her, and then there was also there's the Turkish girl who was like an assassin. Like her father.
But she wasn't the main character's girlfriend. She was Donnie's girlfriend, the fat guy.
Yeah.
I like that one too, because there's the Turkish girl, and then her dad's like this acclaimed terrorist assassin, and then now he's just like Mr. Daddy. He's got like shirts on.
He's
like,
always
I
proud
love my
of
daughter.
It's like an embarrassing level, and like whenever she like pulls off like a good whenever she pulls off a good job, he just comes running off screen with flowers like, "Good job, sweetheart!" Like, oh, what do you? So it's a little kind of like cartoonish in that aspect, but I think for a mockumentary that works.
It still works, yeah.
Yeah, and then like there's even like how like once there's like kind of like this tension between the big guy, Donnie's his name.
Yeah, Donnie.
I saw the movie like a week ago, so it's all kind of
same here. I know it's all flooding back in.
Donnie and her start hooking up, and then whenever he sees her and him, he just chases him with like some old Arabian sword, like he's gonna kill him. And at some point, he's just like, yeah, I actually finally got her father's respect. I had to convert to Islam to do that. So
well, he's like, I had to convert to Islam. My choice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then he's just like, you love her. He looks him in the eye like, seriously, you love her.
Like all scary like. But that's
and then he's like, so now she's kind of off his list, and now he's got someone else. He has a granddaughter. He says, there's my little granddaughter. Comes running in, same exact thing.
Yeah, just super excited. He's got like a T-shirt on and everything that's like with the granddaughter's name. But yeah, it's one of those movies where it's like, I mean, I could see where maybe some people might not like it. It's kind of got like a certain like niche humor that you're either gonna like or you're not gonna like. I feel, but I don't know what it was like. It was just like, I think I just like the combination of like, I like the jokes. I mean, obviously I liked it because it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. The action in it was cool, and then once again, it had that feeling like almost almost like the way that like the feel that you get from watching Clerks, or the feel that you get from watching like SLC Punk, or some of these movies like that, where you kind of go like, you know what, you could shoot a movie like this and it wouldn't be that hard. I mean, yeah, you might not have Arnold Schwarzenegger in your movie, but if you just include that and some other couple things, yeah, it's kind of like almost inspires you to make stuff, and I think that's cool.
Well, when I think about this movie, I feel like this movie actually, I mean, it got a really limited release. It's all on digital and all on demand kind of thing. I feel like that if this movie came out maybe like around 10 years ago, I granted, like, I think Arnold was in office then, but like this came out like around Grindhouse or something around then I think this movie probably would have probably done pretty well in theaters. Because it seems like a very interesting idea. Like, I feel like this could have gone to theaters, like if it came out like in 2007 or 2008, somewhere around there.
Well, the weird thing too, it's like I feel like this movie would do really well as long as people were able to see it. I mean, the only thing that's I feel this is the only thing that's going to kind of hold it back is somebody's going to go like, oh fuck, it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and then they're going to be all pissy because he's only in the last 20 minutes. And they're like, this movie was kind of shit because he was only in 20 minutes, and that's almost like what they're going to use to base the review off of. I feel that's kind of my fear that might happen with. I mean, I already saw that on Amazon. Like, you'd see the reviews and like, you know, some people really liked it, but then you see some people like, oh, Arnold's only in it like the last like 15 minutes. Fucking blows this movie, you know. And I don't know. I think some people just go in there just super biased, and I think you got to kind of go in just knowing that Arnold's not going to be in it the whole time. And story-wise, it totally works that way. It is totally fine that you can have Arnold at the very end. And I'll say this. I mean, yeah. It would probably be that much more awesome if Arnold was in it throughout. Even if, like, I kind of even thought about this. I mean, like, yeah, like, that's what makes the surprise nice, but since the movie's so heavily advertised towards Arnold, I almost feel you could have had, like, because the whole point about this movie is they're making a documentary, and then it realized later, they're like, Arnold's like, well, I learned that you guys were making a documentary, so I got my own crew to shoot my documentary. And it would have been kind of funny, like, almost like to have that going on. Because I loved all the parts where it'd go back in time and it'd be like, oh, remember when the snake guy who loves poison, and he's like up there like sniping everything like that, and it shows Arnold looking down now because you don't know who it is at first. You're like, that must be Gunther up there on the roof sniping everybody, and then it cuts later on in the movie that Gunther's actually up there. And it looks like, did that guy just try to throw poison at me?
Well, it's funny because they think they kill Gunther at like around the halfway point of the movie, and then he says like, first they show it from his perspective, and he says like, first, I'm going to let it slide, but they killed my assistant and my driver. That's fucked up.
And it's just one of those ones, like, the other way I could almost see this movie being edited together is a movie where it's like, here's the guys going after Gunther, and then you cut back and forth to almost like Gunther seeing it from his perspective, and it goes back and forth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you lose that kind of surprise, but I feel like that surprise is only cool when you don't know that it's necessarily an Arnold movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still cool. I'm not saying it's not cool, but I feel like that would almost be the most balanced way to do the movie. Is, yeah, you show them, and then you show Gunther kind of doing all his, like, chewing the scenery, and then go back and forth until, you know, you get to the end of the movie.
His face is the only face on the cover, so I guess it is one of those things that is kind of misleading. This is almost just like, this is totally, like, just spitballing, but maybe it even sounds somewhat cliche, but I can almost imagine, like a cover, like a revolver, like cylinder in each of the revolver, each hole you have like one of the hitman and Gunther at the other end of the barrel, something kind of like that.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Like I mean, it's one of those ones like I know why that's obviously probably like the producer or whoever's kind of like in charge of like the studio's like, yeah, you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, you put his fucking face on the cover. What are you, stupid? You're not putting You're not putting fucking Donnie's face on the cover. You're putting Arnold Schwarzenegger's face on there. And it's like I get it. I mean, like, you got to sell this movie, and especially when you have a limited release. But I do feel this is one of those movies, if this movie was in theaters, people would go and see it. It's one of those movies like if you could afford to do the advertising for it, I think people would love to go and see this movie and actually really enjoy it.
I think that also the two, aside from Arnold, the two biggest people that I recognized in this movie was I've only seen like in a few things, and like I said, I think he's an SNL guy, the guy that played Donnie, and then Colby Smulders, who was in How I Met Your Mother, and she also plays Maria Hill in Avengers. Yeah. So I think that's why those are in, she's like a side character too. She's like only in the movie in a few quick little scenes, but at the same time though, they actually kind of give it a real like because like the main guy Jake, I did not hate him, but I totally
he was kind of douche.
I don't feel bad for him because the whole thing is, even the side of your brain that acknowledges, why are these people filming this? And it kind of gets to the point where, like, he points a gun at him, like, you are not leaving. The camera is always on. And every so often you'll hear the cameraman off screen be like, can we go now? Fuck no, you can't go. Like, so it's one of those things, and you kind of feel bad for the cameraman at the end because, maybe, who knows, maybe they just barely got out of the explosion, but the camera people, the film crew, are more likely dead by the end of the movie.
Well, they even have a cool part too, is like towards the very end, like when like the final battle kind of happens, and then it's like, because Arnold Schwarzenegger's got his film crew, and then the main character, he's like, okay, you guys can finally go, and they just start fucking booking it outside the house, and then next thing you know, like Arnold's crew gets shot, and then the cameras fall. So wherever those cameras fell, that's now the new like location of when the camera's going to cut back and forth. So it's cutting from like these floor angles, and one's on like the countertop, and it's going back and forth because it's taking place in Arnold Schwarzenegger's character's house.
That was a well done
There's a part
scene.
too where like Arnold even kicks one of the cameras, and it's actually a really cool scene because he kicks the camera, and then you see the camera drifting across the linoleum or the tile or whatever, going across, looking up at him. There's some really cool stuff shot in this movie, and then it's just kind of cool to see that this is almost kind of nice to see in a movie too. Since it's shot mockumentary style, you realize lots of times that you don't always need to cut that often. You know what I mean? You can hold on certain stuff and just kind of move back and forth, and it works totally fine. I know there's always that kind of. I've just thought about this in life. Sometimes it's like an editor. You sometimes feel like you got to cut more often than you really do, but sometimes you can hold on something and just let the moment just happen more fluidly and naturally. And it's I think at the end of the day, as long as your scene's interesting, you don't always have to be cutting like every 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah, and plus, I think the whole regarding that whole scene, I think that shot itself was actually that scene itself was actually shot pretty interestingly. Just because I was just wondering how are they going to do? Because I knew an action scene was going to happen. Like, how are they going to do this exactly? And you see, I've heard I saw someone say it's kind of overly convenient. Like, oh, shut up! They need to have this happen somehow. And then even in that scene, because you find out that the main guy Jake, he's obsessing over his ex-girlfriend. And she actually dated Gunther briefly shortly after they broke up, and he didn't realize that she didn't know that was him at first. So when he's kind of given the option to leave with her or attack Gunther, and it's just like, oh, he chose to go after Gunther. So it's kind of like one of those things. Yeah, you kind of do deserve what you get right here.
Yeah, it's like he's just so obsessed with his mission. And I think that's, even though he's like the main character and he's kind of a douchebag, I almost feel like it sort of works that way too. Like, he's not really the one you're supposed to like. You're supposed to like all the side characters. Like, you like the Middle Eastern girl, and you like Donnie, and you like, the Russian twins, and even like the Snake Venom guys. They all like, all the side characters I feel are like the clever ones, and this douchey guy, it's like how real life is. Mostly the douchey guy with the money is probably the guy holding it all together anyways. Doesn't mean he's really necessarily a good guy, but he's the guy that seems to have the money and the power to be able to do this, where maybe the other 6 by themselves would never be able to pull off, this mission together. So, I get it. Like, it works in both a realistic way and then sort of a slightly over-the-top way. And I think that's what makes this movie kind of fun, is it does feel, it's never so over-the-top that it feels like it's too wacky and out there, and it's slapsticky. I mean, there's some moments then where you think it's kind of like goofy, but I feel like it still works. It's okay.
The only part that I thought was over the top was the funeral scene. Because, I thought it was funny because, we got to build up this part. There's, I think his name was Clarence or Florence. It was something like that. And it was like he was the most badass assassin in his day, but now he's old and decrepit. He could barely do anything. So it's like, we got him.
Black guy.
He's like, we got him, man. He's here. And then he just falls down, not feeling so good. Like, okay, well, he's out of it. So we got to get another person or 2 other people. And later he's like, good news. He's out of the hospital. We're going, man. We're going. Then all of a sudden he's just like, well, last time it was like he had a migraine. This time it's a heart attack. So, and then when they get him out the 4th time, the 3rd time, he's just like, we ready to go? Like, you're sleeping. Like, oh, just cut to a funeral. And even though that was a funny buildup, it was like the rule of threes right there. The funeral scene was just a little over the top, because that's where the Jake character just started kind of he's like, no, not that, because that's where the nerd guy died.
It's kind of funny because I think it's because Gunther puts a bomb in the casket, so when it goes down, it blows up, but it blows off the fucking
The
headstone.
tombstone.
Yeah, and it lands on the fucking nerd guy's head, so he's just like laying on the ground with his head smashed in and his body sticking out. Which you kind of felt bad because the nerd guy was just the guy who's like he was good at computers, but he was just kind of a ditz at everything else in life.
Yeah, and but it was just more of his reaction. Like, I was fine that he died that way, and even how cartoonish that looked. But he's like, no! He got it on his hands and knees right there. He's just like, you're useless in every way, but we can't open. Like that part seemed a little forced, but I'm not gonna let that ruin the movie.
Oh yeah.
Especially, I thought it was even kind of funny because like the computer guy, because he was just like because like there's some of the smaller things they do in the movie. Like there's the part where where he says like, okay, we got a picture of gun. We got it right there. That's it with the rocket launcher. Oh yeah, zoom in. Like, what do you mean zoom in? I like zoom in like they do in the movies. Like, I can't. Technology's not going to allow that. I see that all the time in movies. Yeah, I can zoom in, but it's going to look all pixelated. This is the rate it was taken at. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you need a higher end quality camera in order to do that. We're using, I think he said I don't remember what the term was exactly, and he says like, oh, you got to be shitting me. Yeah, we need higher resolution. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about it, too. Yeah, you can't just fucking zoom in like fucking Blade Runner style and just like have a crystal clear picture at the very end.
And then like there's even a part where he says like it was his last resort and he had to go stay at the nerdy guy's house, and he says like, hey man, so I got this girl over tonight, so I'm gonna need you to leave like the apartment for like like maybe 6 hours. And he's all like, you realize I'm wanted by the FBI and the cops, right? He's like, yeah, I know, but it's been a while. And she peeks like, hey, is it much longer? No, not much longer. We're good.
He's like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll just go walk the streets where everybody can see me.
Okay.
It's like all fine. He's like, oh, okay.
Be safe.
Well, I don't know. It's one of those movies that like I watched it, I really enjoyed it, and then the more I thought about it, like the more I really liked it. Like I think this is just one of those like real cool movies that I don't know if it will ever really catch on. I want to hope it does, but you know how that can go too. It's one of those movies that might just get kind of pushed to the side and so on. But
plus, the action scenes themselves are actually good. It's not just like action by the numbers. Okay, gunshot. Like all of them are pretty creative. Like even the part when they're going after him and every car down the road is exploding.
Yeah.
Like he rigged every one of the vehicles, and even the scene where they're going through the office building and trying to shoot him, and how they use that one guy as bait to get Gunther. Like there's some really cool action scenes within the movie.
Yeah, it's a very well thought out film. Like at the end of the day, you can see why Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to be in it. Because it is one of those roles that 20 years ago Arnold Schwarzenegger would probably never be caught dead in a role like that. But nowadays, it's like he almost can have fun. It's like I feel like that's kind of what like the last 2 years have sort of been is like Arnold Schwarzenegger just gets to try out different things and kind of have like a creative spike like late in life where it's like he does Maggie and it's like let's do a zombie movie that's like a hardcore drama. And then he does, what was the last one?
Collide, not Collide. It was
I
something
say like Taken 52, but that's not what it's called. Something. It was like something 52 or whatever the number of the year. God, I feel like I'm.
No, it wasn't. It was. I thought it was not Collateral, but it was like something like these will collide. Aftermath. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Aftermath. So he did that one, and that's one of those movies. Like that's one of the few Arnold Schwarzenegger movies that. That was like so hardcore, like dramatic that it's more cool as like an acting aspect for Arnold. But this one's like that's not a movie you're gonna throw on like probably very much in life. You'll probably watch it again in like 20 years.
We got the beers, we got the pizza. What are we watching? We're doing an Arnold Fest, man. I got Terminator 1. I got fucking like how am I drawing a blank on this? How am I drawing a fucking blank?
Aftermath.
Total Recall. Yeah. Total Recall.
Predator.
Action hero. Predator. You fucking know it. I also even got like fucking Expendables 2. Oh yeah. And I also got Aftermath. Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because when I went to go see Terminator 2 in 3D in theaters, it's like I went to go see it with Randy Jennings, who's like the head guy of the Arnold fans.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, because we were talking about that, he's like, yeah, Aftermath's like one of those movies like, it's an Arnold movie, but it's definitely, not even my favorite of that. So it's like, even the guy who likes Arnold probably more than anybody else, it's kind of like, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it's one of those movies
Well, it was totally worth watching, but it's so bleak and so depressing. I think
it's
maybe
kind of like tough. You almost kind of like you watch it for the performance is more what I feel. It's not one you could just throw on. Where I feel Killing Gunther is one of those movies you could throw that on multiple times. I'm actually looking forward to it when it comes out on Blu-ray because I hope it has special features. It's one of those movies.
Yeah, and I feel like that. I honestly feel like if this movie, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the cast, 'cause I think everybody in the movie did a great job, but I feel like if this movie, if like one of the side hitmen or one or two of them was like, okay, one of them was like Jason Statham, and the other was, I don't know, like Chris Pratt or something, you probably could have got this thing to like a wide release. Probably they probably just were afraid just to market it on on Arnold, who doesn't come because nobody in the movie is like really like a headlining actor. So it's one of those things. They're all great. They all did a good job. But I feel like, I mean, I would have gone to see this movie in theaters, but I feel like most people, I think that's the reason would stop them because they didn't have like a bunch of big names in it.
Yeah, well, I will say that's kind of true. It's a bunch of, in a sense, side actors banding together to make this, and then you got Arnold, which, yeah, at the end of the day, let's just say, like, yeah, if you would have had it kind of like a Magnificent Seven or an Expendables, where you had like at least like let's just say like the three main guys were, you know, somebody really big, like I don't know, as you said, yeah. Let's say you had Chris Pratt playing the main guy, you know, if you had Donnie and you had that being played by like Jack Black or something like that, you know. And then you just kind of like went in. I feel like then the Anne character of Arnold Schwarzenegger would actually work out better almost. Once again, not to take away from these guys because they all do a fantastic job, and I mean it's their movie. But I mean that's like at the end of the day, like talking about like your own movie. You know what'd be better is if in our own movie, like you know who did star in it? Us.
I'm not even saying this movie needs like a Chris Pratt or a Jason Statham, but I'm saying in order for this movie to happen and come to theaters, that's probably what you have to do. I mean, I'm fine with the movie the way it is. I wouldn't mind getting it on Blu-ray when it comes out. It was actually a movie that surprised me. Like, I figured I'd enjoy it, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I did. Well, more than I thought I would, yeah.
Yeah, same here. I thought the same way, too. Yeah, and I agree with you, though. Yeah, just to sell it in theaters, I think it just needed, like, really, at the end of the day, not to take away from the guy who directed the movie, but, like, almost
and wrote it and produced it.
And wrote it and produced it and starred in it, like,
probably edited too, maybe.
If that one character, and it's like not his performance, but if that was just one big actor right there, and it was just a tandem with like, you know, this guy and Schwarzenegger, I think that in itself, you wouldn't even like, you could keep all the other actors in it and it'd be totally fine. You just had that one main guy, like somebody like a Chris Pratt. I feel like that's almost like the guy that would probably do it perfect.
Because he does action and he still has a little bit of that vulnerability and a little bit of that comedy aspect to him.
Yeah, I feel like he would be the perfect choice, and I feel like you could sell this movie just huge. Fucking market it just ginormous. And, you know. But yeah, so that's the key thing. If anything, go out and watch it. You can watch it on fucking Amazon. You can probably watch it on PlayStation and iTunes and all that good stuff. Go check this movie out. It's worth it. It's like, for some reason, it's $10. I don't know why the fuck it's $10, but it is worth that $10 to rent that movie right now and watch it while it's there. And if you happen to live in Los Angeles or New York or wherever the fuck a theater might be that has it, go see it too. It's probably not there anymore in theaters, but by this point, but check this movie out. It's definitely worth your time. It's totally fucking awesome.
So the other one we saw was, I actually still haven't got around to seeing Kingsman. If you want to talk about Kingsman,
did you see fucking Tom Cruise sells drugs?
No, I didn't see that yet.
Oh my god, dude, American Made. That movie is literally one of the best movies I've seen all year round. Like fucking A+, fucking 10 out of 10 flick. And it's in that like same vibe as like Wolf of Wall Street and like War Dogs. Like it has like that kind of vibe, you know, where it's like it's sort of a comedy, but it's based on a true story, and it's all about like fucking making money, you know. Well,
the thing about Wolf of Wall Street, when we went to go see that, I was like, you know what? I want to see this not because the idea intrigues me. Because I've seen Wall Street movies before. It was Leo and Martin Scorsese. That's the main reason I wanted to see the movie. I'm like, yeah, it's a new Scorsese picture. I'll see it. I'm sure it'll be decent. I'm sure it'll be funny. And then I was just floored. I was so surprised how like dark the humor got, and the movie was like, that movie was speaking to me on so many levels as far as
3 hours long. A 3-hour-long comedy at the end of the day. I mean, I know it's like a drama still, but like
it does not feel old. It does not. I hear people say that movie goes on too long. Like, it did not go on.
No, that is like.
I watched the movie like 4 times when it was on Netflix, and I did not get bored of that movie.
I got that movie on Blu-ray, and it's one of those movies that like That is like going to be such a legendary classic. That, or at least for us, I know that for sure. But like, I talk to people all the time. They're like, "Dude, that movie is like the fucking shit. It's amazing." It's like, yeah, dude, wasn't that movie fucking awesome?
And it's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, I totally get Gordon Gekko. Not Gordon Gekko.
Not Wall Street.
The other. That's the what was his name in this one? The real guy in Wolf of Wall Street.
Fuck, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head.
Oh, whatever. It's like him and Gordon. It's like the Batman v Superman. Like him and Gordon Gekko go at it.
Go at it together. I would see that movie.
Yeah.
I know it's like, even if it's not even like based off any true thing, just like fucking Freddy versus Jason, that shit together.
But no,
and then have Charlie Sheen in it too. Why not? Bring him back.
No, that movie was just so it was just so funny and just so fucked up. Like, hey man, I want to show you something. What's this? It's crack. Like, what? this thing you don't expect. So hearing that like American Made is it kind of like that kind of humor? Like,
I will say this: the humor's not like nearly as intense as Wolf of Wall Street is. It's more just the vibe is that similar vibe. I will say it's definitely a much more it's still funny and a lot of funny parts in it. And even like surprising humor where it's just like, oh, dude, I like almost like you know like when there's a character that you're just like, fuck that character, and then just like the best thing possibly could happen to just like knock that character off. It's got like stuff like that. I was like fucking busting up laughing. I want you to see the movie. You'll know it when it comes. But like I was laughing so fucking hard at this part where like I don't think anybody should have been maybe laughing that hard, but it made me so happy. But no, I won't say that the humor's not like it's not as extreme as Wolf of Wall Street, but it's just it's you know what I mean. You could put it in like a block party like that movie, War Dogs, and Wolf of Wall Street, American Made. Like those could all go together very nicely. Like if you're gonna watch movies throughout the week.
If you got like a movie 3-pack from the discount bin,
yep.
Like those three would go together well.
They would so go together nicely. Which I gotta tell you this because you'll find this interesting. Remember the Rockadoodle like MGM pack? They were like, oh, that looks so fucking goofy how that design is.
Yeah.
When I looked it up on Amazon because I was gonna put a link for Rockadoodle, that fucking DVD is like $40 used.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. They just must have not made that many of them, and that's the only like print of Rockadoodle there is.
Oh, you
other
got
than
a gold mine
VHS,
there.
yeah. So it's like, oh fuck, and I just got that one for free, literally. So it's like, can't beat that.
Yeah, hold on to that.
But yeah, check out American Made. It's Tom Cruise fucking working for the government, working with Pablo Escobar, making tons of money. It's awesome story, and it's just.
I saw the. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's just one of those like a cool like plane movie where like. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's an awesome story. I feel like, yeah, go see it. It's just like, who doesn't want to see him bringing these drugs in, watching Ronald Reagan fight his war that he is not going to let the public know about, realizing that nobody in the Contras wants to fight a war, they just want to make fucking money.
And then I saw the part in the trailer, or like in one of the TV spots, where he lands in a suburb covered in cocaine and like takes like some kid's bike, throws a wad of money at him, just rides off.
Yeah, he literally does, because there's a scene I thought it's kind of cool. It's like when they were flying back in with the drugs and stuff, he's like, God, the DEA would always come after us. And at first they had these jets, and he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Those jets are way faster than us, but fucking we'll just pull it down real slow and we'll just fucking fly around the Gulf of Mexico and they'll have to go refuel because they cannot last that long. So then like what happens is later on the DEA comes back and they're like, oh yeah, well we got a fucking plane now, fuck you and you're like planes. And he's chasing after Tom Cruise and they're like, land that fucking plane. So he looks down, he's like, oh fuck, there's a neighborhood, and he just lands in there, comes sliding in, fucking flying in, knocks like one of the wings off on a tree and everything and crashes into like this black kid's house. He just gets out, like, poof, like fucking cocaine everywhere. He's like, here you go. Here's a stack of money for you. Here's a stack of money for your sister. And here's another stack for your bicycle. And he just starts fucking pedaling off. Yeah, it's just one of those ones. It's just the thing. It's like when it's a true story, like that just tops it off too. Like, and then it's
who knows how much of that actually happened. I actually looked up the real guy and read some of his story. So I have an idea of kind of what to expect in certain areas, but I'm still curious to know where this movie goes.
Yeah, well, it's just cool. I mean, it's like the core stuff's always kind of true. It's like, here's this guy who was hired by the CIA as a pilot just to go take fucking pictures of South America. He did a fucking awesome job at that. Then, he meets Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar wants him to bring drugs back in since he's this guy who keeps coming back and forth. He's the He's the one white guy that keeps showing up, the middleman between everything. Then the government's like, no, take these AK-47s and go fight, give them to the Contras and have them fight the war on communism. And then he just keeps going back and forth trading all this stuff and making money from both ends. Fucking CIA buys him a 200-acre ranch in fucking Kentucky for him to have his little airport at. It's just like a totally awesome story. And even the characters, like, there's the wife in there, and you almost have that fear that, like, oh, fuck, the wife's going to be, like, bitchy and everything like that. And she has, like, a couple, like, moments, but they're never, like, a moment where, like, you're like, fuck that character, I hope she fucking dies. Like, not like Casino or something like that. Because in that movie, you're just like, fuck Sharon Stone. I hope she fucking dies, like, in this movie. Like, I like her in other stuff, but fuck her in this movie. It's like, there's no, like, bad characters in this one. That's what I kind of like about, too. That's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll put this one on the list right here.
Yeah, definitely go out of your way to see it. It's fucking awesome. And then same with Kingsman. I know you haven't seen that one yet, so we don't really need to talk about that. I feel it's one of those ones. Sum it up simply, it's really good. Maybe not as good as the first one. It is definitely has like this, like kind of like the second one where it's like, we're gonna put a little bit more comedy in there, but I don't feel like it's ever as bad as like a Marvel movie, or it doesn't really like take away from it. I mean, there definitely is more comedy, a little bit more like over the top moments, but I don't care if there's an over the top moment with fucking Elton John fucking judo kicking a guy in the face. That is well worth it. If you're gonna make that your over the top moment, it's so fucking awesome.
I'd take that for. Oh, go ahead.
Or Elton John taking a bowling ball and smashing a robotic dog in the head. Like that. That's worth it. I don't consider that over the top at all.
Is Elton John an agent?
He's not an agent. I kind of almost thought that was going to happen at some point, but I will say I'm actually glad they didn't, because that might make it feel a little too over the top, But there's a part, too, where it's like he's literally like an experiment room or whatever, and it's like people are looking in. Julianne Moore's like giving this speech or whatever. He's like, fuck you! Fuck you! And he just goes and he sits on his bed just like laying there like, fuck you! Like pissy, like he can't do anything. He's in this room. Just watching Elton John like fucking yell at Julia.
I want to see this now, but is it like, well, I remember the first one, because the first one there's a part, like, I want to say there's a whole skiing scene in the first one. I don't remember who it was, but there was like a big actor, the cameo, like, oh my god, that's so-and-so, and they kill him off. Like, who was it in the first one? I remember there's a part where like some big actor was there for a second just to get killed off.
Well, the thing about the Kingsman, I will say, like, they are, in both movies, they're ballsy by just killing people off and not having any care. Because, they kill off fucking Mark Hamill right in the beginning. And then they kill off
that's
Alfred,
right, Mark
what's
Hamill.
His name? Michael Caine, they kill him off too. And it, like, technically, like, just by watching the first one, not knowing the second one, they kill off what's his name as well? Fucking Harry, what's his actor name?
He won an Academy Award, but his name's escaped me.
Yeah. So it's like, by that standard, you're like, that's fucking ballsy. You have one movie and you've already killed off like 3 major actors. I mean, Samuel Jackson, that's one thing. He's the villain. You expect that. But, like, the other ones, you're like, what the fuck? So the second one kind of carries that, too. But it almost kills... There's like, one character or 2 characters I kind of go, really? I don't know if you need to go that ballsy by this point. But it's still one of those movies. It's an awesome movie. As I said, not nearly as powerful as the first one. Because the first one's one of those movies, like, literally on the bottom of the case, it says better than Bond. Like when they always have those things? I was thinking, like, in the 2000s, you used to always see it's like, more powerful than the Matrix, sold more than Titanic. You're like, okay, now you're just making shit up. But that is one of the few movies where it says better than Bond, and I go, yeah. In like the last 10 years, The Kingsman is better than Bond. It is by far better than Bond. And don't get me wrong, I love the Daniel Craig ones, but The Kingsman represents everything that was almost like missing from those movies, and like what makes like a Bond movie really awesome, by having that little bit of sci-fi fantasy, that little bit of over-the-topness, still having fun with it, having the gadgets, and then also having like a really good like origin story for a Bond-like character.
I'll say the first one, when I was watching, because everybody was like talking about how amazing the first one was. So then when I finally got around to watching it, I'm like, oh, I'm watching it. It's kind of like an origin story thing. I mean, it's a good origin story, but I've seen this before, but I'm enjoying it. And then it gets to the church scene, and I was just like, holy fuck. Just the way they shot that scene, they make it look like one long take. And from the church scene through the rest of that movie, it's just kind of like the first like, 2/3 of the movie was enjoyable, was a good movie. Mm-hmm. You get that last act, and that's where it's like, okay, this movie won me over. The rest of it was good. this is really fucking good and it deserves the praise it was getting.
Well, I think what works well is because Colin Firth kind of makes up for being like...
That's his name, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It came to me. He makes up for, like, since it's an origin story, it's almost like, he's the Bond at first, and then it's like you get your new Bond coming in, so you can almost have this origin story, but still not be just a total build-up, you know?
Well, it was kind of like, it felt kind of like it was going like the Matrix path, kind of like here's the guy who's learning the whole time, and now he's the last one, he's the last hope for the whole thing.
Yeah, it literally is kind of going like that, too. But, yeah, really check out the second one. I still thought it was really fun. I'll say this, if the first one is like a 4 out of 4 perfect movie, the second one I would say it's like probably a 3.25. I wouldn't say...
That's still good.
Yeah, I wouldn't say maybe like... And maybe this was also, too, because that was one of the best trailers I've ever seen in my entire life, was that Kingsman 2 trailer. So I don't know if there was like the buildup of like, I like the first one so much, that trailer was fucking amazing. All these things were kind of coming together, and then like you go to see the movie just like is amped, like fucking Indiana Jones 4 amped up, and then you kind of go in there and it's like it's good. I mean, it's definitely better than Indiana Jones 4, but I mean, like, I use that as a level of like how fucking amped you can be for a movie, because I don't think there's any movie I remember being more amped up for than Indiana Jones 4.
And that kind of tainted us. That kind of like made us prepared for what would come afterwards. Yeah. Like, we're excited for Dark Knight, but hold it back just a little.
Yeah, don't get that excited. And here's the thing, too. It's like, we probably like Indiana Jones 4 more than like the average person, but still, you know, one of those ones. But this movie's one of the ones, still cool, still really fun. You know, it's kind of got a weird thing, too. It's like they advertise Channing Tatum really like heavy in it, but he gets fucking like put on ice like Tom Petty, like right in the very beginning of the movie almost. Or not in the beginning, but, you know, like a quarter way through.
I can totally see that. Just kind of like, just so they can use some of the advertisements and just throw a curveball at you.
Yeah, so I mean, it throws curveballs out there and everything like that, but it's cool. It's got a good story, and just like, it's like, you know, it's got real life or real world issues going on, kind of like in almost like big ways to solve them. So definitely there. But the movie we did see together, though, that was like we should talk about before we run out of time, is fucking the Ninjago movie, which I kept calling Ninjango, like it's fucking like some like Django Unchained like martial arts movie.
Lego like Django. The next movie.
The weird of us like was okay. It's a Lego Django movie, but it's also like based in like the Ninjago universe. So it's like Django literally goes across to Japan. And it's like samurai style, but they got these like weird like mechs that they've sort of built.
You know what? If they just did like Django Goes to Japan and just like, you know, the lone wandering cowboy in the land of the East,
that fucking awesome.
I want to see that so fucking bad. I want to see that so. And you can't do the whole, oh, they're whitewashing. It's a white guy learning how to samurai fight. You can't use that excuse. Nope. So.
No, that would be so fucking awesome. Like have fucking RZA and Quentin Tarantino put that movie together.
Oh, let that happen.
Oh
please.
my god.
I feel kind of bad because it's one of those things like here we're talking about like fucking I know I wanted to see American Made, I wanted to see Kingsman, it's just like I tried to see the Lego movie.
I know, it just sounds like it makes it feel like, dude, that like if you told just some regular person like literally you went and saw the Lego movie. I remember when we went to the Lego movie. It's like there was like 4 of us sitting there. It was like me, you, Ryan, and Laura, and It was funny because this like guy comes in with like his 2 kids, and he literally does the look like he looks left, he looks right, because there's nobody else fucking in the cinema. And he goes this thing like, "Is this the Lego movie?" And we're like, "Yeah, you're at the right place." Oh, okay. But he just has this look like, why was 4 like grown adults sitting there in the Lego movie?
That dude was laughing more than the 4 of us.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: the thing about the Lego movie or the Ninjago movie is, it has all the same great humor as like the Batman one and the first Lego movie. You know, and it plays out. It's got a good message in it. You know, it's got like the father-son thing going on. All kinds of good stuff going there. And I really did like enjoy it. Obviously, I didn't enjoy it as much as the other 2, but I think this is also, it doesn't have fucking Batman in it. I mean, I'm just going to point that out. Like, what's the 2 funniest things of like the other 2 ones is Batman. But at the same time, I want to give it 100% credit for actually not using any like licensed characters, because I feel like it's almost like it didn't need that, and I think that's a good thing, because the licensed characters, like, though it is cool to see him in there, I feel like that's almost like a cop out. Like, oh, you just throw Batman in there, he'll you know make the movie better.
Well, I'll say this: the idea of you say there's no Batman, I think you'd have 2 oblivious asshole characters in it if you threw Batman in there, because Garmadon is basically just kind of like a more evil version of Batman, because he kind of is like, because the thing about Batman in Lego Batman, as well as the Lego movie, is he's a badass. He's good at what he does, but he's kind of oblivious when it comes to everyday things. And he's just
doesn't have those social skills.
And he's just too obsessed with himself. And I think that's a funny thing about Batman, because Batman's always been very noble. Like, it's never enough. I always have to keep working. But it's more of like one of those things like, Batman's like, no, I know I'm everybody's favorite superhero. Everybody loves me. They all wish they could be me. I'm too awesome, you know? And Garmadon's kind of like that to some extent. Now, I will say that my nephew watched the CG, this movie CG, but they tried to make it look stop motion. My nephew watched
the show.
My nephew watched the CG one, and I can't really remember a whole lot about it. I remember it not being that funny or that clever, and I want to say it's a whole other separate universe from that, more than likely. I don't remember which characters were which, or if some of those characters are back in it. But this movie, though, it's just like, it's one of those things I think people, because it's not as good as the first two. The first one threw us both a curveball. I think we're like, you know what, it might be good, but Wreck-It Ralph left us with a bad taste in our mouth. So we're going in kind of a little apprehensive. We'll see what happens. We've been heartbroken before. Then it found out being like, oh my God, that was one of the best movies of the year. Mm-hmm. And then Lego Batman. I don't know if I like Lego Batman more than the Lego movie, but it's definitely up there.
I'll say this, I think Lego movie is technically a better film than the Lego Batman one, but I think I might just like the Batman one slightly more because it's I don't know. It's a weird one. I'll say this, I think overall, Lego movie is like a perfect movie. It's like a 4 out of 4. Lego Batman might be like a 3.5 out of 4 as far as quality goes, maybe throughout the whole movie, but I still love it like a lot, and it's just the Batman aspect.
The Lego movie legitimately tugged at my heartstrings. That literally tugged, like, in that kind of threw a curveball at me in a way I was not expecting. And then Lego Batman had a little bit of that. It was just more of like, here's a bunch of, you love Batman, here's a bunch of shit that, you know, we're just going to totally poke fun at, but still like appreciate and acknowledge. And this one, it's more of like, they drop a little bit of heart in there, but it comes in a way like, so we're doing the emotional thing at the end. Okay. And but it didn't feel like too forced, but at the same time, I guess I just didn't really care for all these characters as much as the other one. I mean, I didn't dislike the characters. My favorite character was the villain, was the asshole of the whole movie.
That's literally like, he's the funniest fucking part of the movie by far.
Well, it's just like some of the things he does. Like, he accidentally called his son on his birthday, because the whole city, this whole like fusion, it's supposed to be, I guess, a fusion between like New York and Tokyo. Whichever they do like a fusion city, it's always those two.
Yeah.
You know, Big Hero 6 was Tokyo and San Francisco, so they switched coasts for that one. But anyway, So they have the whole thing where like everyone knows his dad is Garmadon, and they hate him for it. It's like, oh, Garmadon's always coming in and fuck up the city. And then there's a secret team of ninjas who drive mechs who always save up the city. So his persona is the Green Ninja is respected, but everyone likes him personally. And when he calls them on his birthday in the morning, he's just like, who is this? I'm like, you call me. Like, I must have butt dialed you. Like, you know, it's your son, you know, today's a certain day. Like, oh, yeah, all right, whatever. So, like,
he just kind of goes on. He's like, you know, it's a certain day. Yeah, what day? You know, just like, day I'm going to invade, just like any other day. He's like, no, you know, something big happens on this day. Must not be that important then. Doesn't he even say, he's like, dude, Dad, it's my fucking birthday, you know? He's like, oh.
He's like, oh, all right, well, glad to see those teeth came in, and you got hair now.
Oh, yeah, because he's like, it's your son? He's like, no, my son's bald and doesn't have any teeth. Like, the only time he saw him was like as a baby.
Yeah. And I like when he goes and visits, he's like, okay, defense is down for a second. He thinks he's going to be talking about his son. I left something very important in the city. Like, would you leave? It's very important to me. Like, what was it? He's like, okay, defense is down for a minute. Someone very special. He's like, yeah, go ahead. It was this really great sushi place. I think it's called Maki. Like, Maki is a service of sushi, not a sushi place. Like, oh, well, whatever. This guy just nailed it, and I just don't know if it's still here. Really important to me. Don't know. Did you have someone like a son? Like, I did have a son, but kid was just always crying, had no teeth, was bald.
I just love it. He's just like he's like literally like the most like unloving father known to mankind. It's like I find this like okay, we fucking think this is like one of the funniest things ever. I realize that we actually write a lot of stuff that happens to be like almost like hateful, unloving father things, and find it really funny. But these are one of those movies like if you were a kid that didn't have like a good relationship with their father, like how we have, like, and you're like, God, that is like how my dad is. Like he never shows up on my birthday. He doesn't really remember who I am, and he's always fucking creating havoc. I always wonder if you watch a movie like this, like if you're like a 12-year-old kid that just has a shitty father, like what is this movie like? What do you not find it funny? Do you find all that stuff fucking like?
I would imagine. I actually, you know what? In all honesty, I imagine that like this movie would probably reach out to them and they'd find that funny because it's just kind of like I imagine so. I don't know because I mean, not to bring it back to the beginning of the podcast to an extent. Things start out. Whenever there's a tragedy, we reach back to that like years later and make a joke about it.
Uh-huh.
Now, I can imagine something like this. You have like maybe there are times where like you have like troubles with your parents or a family member or something and you're just like, oh god damn it, but then somebody makes a joke like in this movie about like that is kind of like my dad, he is kind of a stupid asshole like that. I feel like that. I mean, some people would probably be hurt by it, but at the same time I think a lot of people would actually be kind of like chuckle it off, just kind of like, because the dad, even though he is an asshole, he's made to be kind of oblivious and kind of dumb in some way. Even the way he kind of delivers it, like I kind of also think it's funny just in the aspect of when all the ninjas together catch Garmadon and they're carrying him in this cage. The only one that does not like him, is not getting along with him, is Lloyd, the main character. Uh-huh. Everybody else is immediately kind of liking him, like, oh,
he's awesome. Which is always kind of funny because mostly people that have like bad dads, lots of times like the friends are always like, dude, your dad's like the coolest guy ever, and then he's like, yeah, well, that's what you think. Wait till he's like not fucking entertaining, then he's just a total asshole. Like I've always noticed that before. It's like a lot of people that have like hard dads, like they always seem to be very cool to the friends and everything like that, and everybody thinks they're like the greatest guy ever, but then it's like behind closed doors, like maybe they're not. Maybe they're just this horrible person.
Every once in a while, you get like a glimpse of that when you go to their house, or like when you get their kind of like, you hear from the other room, like, all right, go live with your fucking mother then. I don't give a shit. I'm the one paying the rent.
And you're just sitting back there fucking playing PlayStation, like eating some Cheetos, like, okay, I guess this is. You get that weird moment like the friends getting yelled at by their dad. You're just sitting there like in silence, and then they come back in. They don't say anything, and you don't say anything. You just keep going back to playing games.
Just playing, just like, oh, I didn't know Mario had this color variant in Smash Brothers. That's cool. You just try to like,
yeah, you just fucking derail that.
It'd be cool if like, if Bowser was a playable character. This is in
64 days.
Yes.
Before we got to play as Bowser, yeah.
Before you had a driver's license, like I'm just gonna go now. All right.
Yeah, you walk home.
But no, but like there's even like some of the smaller kind of dialogues. I kind of like it because when they can make a dumb character, but they still like, I'm not sure the proper way to maybe phrase this. It's kind of like they have a dumb character, but he's more oblivious than he is just kind of like, duh. It's like there's the part where he's talking like, so how'd you get the 4 arms? Like, don't ask me the 4 arms. Like, no, people don't usually ask me. So I'm actually appreciate you're brave enough to do that. That will usually make them uncomfortable. Anyway, like, he just breaks it down like, I was bitten by a spider that was bitten by a snake. And he's just like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, really. I think he might have said scorpion or something like that. I think that might have been what it was.
Like that. But yeah, but just his reaction, just like, you know what? People usually aren't brave enough to ask me, so I appreciate you asking me that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. One of those ones. No, it's like there's tons of great Garmadon like moments in that movie. It's just filled with them, and like once again, like I think we saw this movie like a week and a half ago by now, so it's not like they're as fresh. That's why I feel like I like to sometimes do a podcast like right afterwards, because I just know my old man memory doesn't like keep up as well until I see a movie multiple times. But no, there's tons of great stuff in there, and then it's kind of got that Power Rangers vibe going. And overall, it's like it still is like an awesome movie. Like I would say it's at least maybe like I'd probably say like no lower than a 3 out of 4. Like it's that good of a movie.
Yeah, I'd say it's a 3. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that people are kind of turning on it all of a sudden. Like I saw some reviews that were like, it's not like god awful, but it's okay, and and it's kind of it's not like we both said, it's not as good as the first two, but at the exact same time. I think because the first one surprised a lot of people, and we're like surprised by how funny it was, and B, like like how much heart was in that movie. Second one was still right. It was still like riding on that good feeling and that good word of mouth.
Plus, it's Batman. I'm just gonna say, it's Batman. It's Batman. It's kind of like, that's almost. I think that's the thing about this movie. I want to say probably. I bet you the reason why some people might not like it is because it doesn't have fucking Lando in it, and it doesn't have Batman in it, and it doesn't have, Lord of the Rings and all this other stuff in there. But I almost give it more credit for not putting that stuff in there and just like going, nope, we're just going to ride on our own characters, and we don't need to have the rest of the Warner Brothers lineup to support us. But I think that's the thing, though, is people were probably maybe expecting that. They want to see some characters, because here's the thing, most people aren't going to know who this Ninjago character is if you're like an adult going into this. So
yeah.
If you're a kid, that's a different story.
I didn't know any of them. Like because I know my nephew watched the show, and I just knew they were just there's a group of multicolored ninjas. That's all I really knew.
And it's weird because it's got like a half Chinese, half Japanese like blend. It's like, it's not that one. It's like that perfect example of like, well, by combining both together, you can never have that race thing. Like, dude, that's Chinese, not Japanese, dude. It's like, no, we'll just combine them both with the same thing.
It's just Asianopolis.
It's literally like what America sees Japan as. That's exactly what Ninjago is. It's like when American really likes Asian culture, or not Japan, I mean whole Asian culture, like this is like how they think of it. This is like
and they have trouble putting it like, is that Japanese or is that Korean? Is it Vietnamese? I don't know. It's Asian. It's cool.
Yeah, it's like,
whatever.
They're ninjas. There's Chinese elements into it. The main guy's a samurai villain. They're eating sushi. They're eating Chinese food. It takes place in like, I don't know, like San Francisco or something. Fuck, I don't know. You know when the Asians all like to hang out at?
Yeah, there's Jackie Chan's there for some reason.
Jackie Chan's there. There was a bunch of Japanese things. Like, that's like almost the part, too. It makes you kind of laugh. So it's like, oh, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's awesome that Jackie Chan's in it, but you're like, Jackie Chan's talking about ninjas? Like, that seems confusing. But
I'll say this regarding the movie, and I totally get the whole thing, how it comes around and why because there is a part at the end of the movie where, first there's a part where like they slowly start to bond together because they're kind of stuck in this situation together. The main character, Lloyd and Garmadon.
Uh-huh.
And there's that whole scene. It's like the whole father bonding scene, and he puts like, we need to listen to some tunes while I get into this cool action scene. So like he puts out his iPod. He's like, please don't be Jim Croce. Please don't be. It starts playing I Got a Name. He says, I jinxed it.
So that made me laugh too, because it's funny. It's like I love Jim Croce. It's probably one of my favorite artists of all time. But it's just funny, just like don't be Jim Croce. Don't be Jim Croce. It's like, oh fuck, we're just going with it.
And like it's just so it's like it's like an action scene, B, a chase scene, C, like a father-son bonding scene. Even though he's a ninja, he can't throw properly because his father never taught him how to play catch. So they're having to do the whole thing where they throw pieces of Legos for the other guys to piece together to get out of there, and build a machine to get out of there.
Yeah, I know.
And that whole scene right there was just like just I don't know, just the whole thing of just seeing this action scene and hearing I Got a Name, and like the dad is kind of smiling. He's just like, what's happening in my face? I don't know what this feeling is. You're smiling. It feels good, but it makes me concerned because I'm not used to doing this.
No, yeah, most definitely. No, and it's just one of those ones. Like, I think that's the thing though. Is like I think some people, because they don't have any recognizable characters that they already know, they're automatically not going to like this movie as much. I don't know. I might even say that myself. Like, that might have been the reason why, I like it still a lot. But maybe, and then because it didn't have somebody like Batman show up, it's like, oh, I already know what Batman's personality is. I mean, you're literally taking in all brand new characters. At the end of the day, all these characters are brand new for anybody who's, once again, never watched anything Ninjago. But I almost say, once again, at the end of the day, I think that's better that they did that instead of having to, like, use the crutch of like, what other media characters can we pull in here? Like they don't actually need those pulls that pull off a really good movie.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like, I'll say this. I totally get why they do the whole thing, like how he gets together and irons out his problems with his dad at the end. I totally get why they did that, 'cause it's that kind of movie. But I was almost hoping, and not me trying to be a cynical dick here, but I was almost hoping that it would be like, sometimes just families can't hold together that way, and just look for family outside of blood. I was kind of hoping. Now, just to clarify, I'm on good terms with my family, so this isn't me like reaching out.
So I can poke fun at other people's families.
But I almost kind of wish the movie kind of did that, because there's a period where it seems like everything's going good. Then at the last minute, he got like Garmadon's like, sorry, it is who I am. Turns on them and doesn't try to kill them or anything, but he's trying to go back like, this is what I do. I try to attack the city. This is who I've always been. And then after like, a heartfelt scene, he comes out and he kind of gets it. And I actually thought that was kind of funny. I remember who was talking, but somebody like starts turning and narrating the screen, is panning away, explaining, where's he going? How's he floating that way? Wait, where you go? Where you go? He's like, I think it was like maybe Jackie Chan saying the story, but that whole part, like, I mean, I totally get it. I'm not going to really dock the movie down, but I almost kind of appreciate it if it was more like, you know what? You don't really need your dad, this guy who was never there. You had your mom and you had your friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those ones like, I do kind of agree there too, because they do the thing where it's like, it's all comes together and it's all gonna be better, which is almost like a 10-year-old's like fucking dream. It's like, yeah, everything will be back to normal, but it almost should be like, no, you got fucking 5 other friends, you fucking all fly around saving the city, you got an awesome mom, like, fuck it, you can still talk to him. It's not saying you can't be that, but it's like, it ain't gonna be like a perfect family. You know what I mean? And
the movie ends on a thing like, we all fixed it together and we're all a happy family again. And it's like, I get how that happens in this movie, and I get that's what most of these movies usually do. And it's not the scene where they have the turnaround is totally sappy or cheesy. It actually is, I'm going to be honest, I thought that scene where he's kind of like talking sort of through the cat, through his dad, was kind of touching. But at the same time, I just can't help but feel like, I kind of for a minute like, oh my God, is this movie actually going to do this? Is this movie going to show like, hey, sometimes some relationships can't pan out that way, and you just got to not settle for who you have, but appreciate who you have.
Yeah, it probably should. That would have been like almost a better. I'll say this. That probably would have been a stronger ending, especially for a child. I think it would be best to have an ending where it's just like, hey, okay, you could still be friends with your dad who's never there, but he's not going to be. Don't expect him to always be there still at the same time. Hang out with your friends, hang out with everybody else, fucking fly your mechs around.
It sounds more like maybe aside from the next part, that sounds almost kind of more like a Pixar ending. Like Pixar, because every so often there's a period where Pixar is just throwing endings at you like, boom! What's this about? Oh, this is about that sometimes you gotta be fucking sad. You gotta be sad once in a while. You gotta be depressed once in a while. Like, oh wow, I thought this movie was gonna tell us to be happy all the time. No, fuck that shit. You gotta be sad. This is fucking Pixar. All right.
They throw out the idea like, you're just like, boom, sometimes you gotta suck a dick. That's how you get out of a sticky situation.
We're not there yet. We'll get there one day.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's that or you're gonna fucking die. What are you gonna do?
Pixar. or there was Toy Story 3, where it was like one of those things like, oh shit,
they're gonna be incinerated.
They're all about to accept their death. Th're all just holding onto each other's hands and waiting to go into the fire.
Ham fucking bends over and just starts fucking jerking. So I guess they're going down.
It's all like together.
Coins are fucking shooting out.
Ham's like, I can't reach it. I can't reach it. Slinky Dog's like, I can. He strings over, starts like jerking him.
Fucking, he turns around, the coins just start smacking Woody in the face. He's like, oh, I can't stop. I can't stop. I've never unloaded this many coins before.
Yeah.
See, this is the reason why Pixar hasn't given us the call yet.
Here's what you need for Toy Story 4.
Yeah, exactly. You got this pig there.
Or I didn't see it, but even like apparently Monsters
2
Inc. or whatever, or the prequel, whatever.
Oh
it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I didn't see it, but I heard that movie that says, kids, you don't need to go to college. I believe that's what the movie says. I have heard.
Kids, you don't need to go to college unless you want to work for Pixar.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say
we don't want any of your delinquent fucking asses showing up here. You could go down the street and fucking work for DreamWorks for all we care, but you ain't working at Pixar.
Even though all the people running this company, or most of the people running this company, did not go to college, dropped out of college.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna fucking hire people like us. We already know what kind of delinquents we were in the 70s. We ain't hiring you.
We want you hungry for more. But apparently that's the I had not seen the movie, but I've been told that the lesson was like, your life doesn't end at college, and that doesn't dictate it. That's what I've heard. I gotta see the movie myself. So if this movie did have this kind of ending, like Yeah, your dad's not always the most reliable guy. You just look for other people. I think that would have been kind of a ballsier ending, and I'm not saying end on a sad Bruce Springsteen song, but I'm just saying maybe in kind of like a bittersweet, optimistic, like, I've had these people right next to me my whole life. Kind of like even how Guardians of the Galaxy, how like it was this kind of thing like Yondu is like, I've always had Yondu in my life, and I think I realized that he was always kind of looking out for me in his weird way. He wasn't perfect at what he did, but he was way better than Ego. Yeah, Ego came in acting all perfect, and God, that was trying to kill me. Yeah.
Exactly. He wanted me to help him destroy other planets.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that is totally like it's at the end of the day, the Ninjago movie is an awesome movie. If you liked anything Lego, you should definitely go out and see it. There's no way you should bypass that one, especially in theaters. It's just so cool to watch those movies. Just artistically wise, they're just so neat. And this, once again, I have to say, I just give it 100% credit for not having to cop out and use, trademark characters that. It's not necessary. You know what I mean? It goes to show you can do this all by yourself, which I think is what makes for a good, strong flick, even if it is not nearly as good as 1 and 2. But I don't consider that like a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably a good place to wrap all this stuff up at. Make sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, comics, movies, and more. Check out Pizza Boys on both Amazon and Comixology. Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
We will see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. Won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to Old Man Orange.